one of my parks, is a good example of one of these, another one of my parks, is a good example of one of these parks that is set aside to help preserve and remember our history. As the only American playwright to receive the Nobel Prize in Literature, Eugene O'Neill changed the course of modern American theater and inspired a new generation of playwrights with his realism, the realism he portrayed in his plays. His house in Danville, there's John Muir, house in Danville is where he wrote his last and most inspiring works. We provide tours and host performances at the site to help share his legacy and hopefully inspire a new generation of writers and actors to find their creative voice. My last two parks are also set aside to preserve an important chapter in our country's history. Rosie the Riveter World War II Homefront National Historical Park, the park with the longest name, is located right across the bay in Richmond. This park tells the story of women who joined the workforce during World War II and supported the war efforts overseas. But as important as the women are to the story, they are not the only part of the Homefront story. Other equally profound changes were happening in our country at the same time. In addition to women, people of color were also joining the workforce for the first time. We had the first prepaid health care, revolutionary changes in child care, victory gardens, recycling, the list goes on. The social changes during World War II were profound. The park helps to share the story of this complexity every day in the exhibits and in the programs we host at the Visitor Center throughout the city of Richmond. Finally, there is Port Chicago Naval Magazine National Memorial, where we memorialize 320 men who lost their lives in the largest homefront disaster of World War II. But that's not all the story and the site represent. It also provides an opportunity to reflect on the segregated military who put African American soldiers in dangerous work conditions which were not being shared by their white colleagues, without training and with insufficient safety protocols in place. At this site, we also recount the trial that court-martialed 50 of these survivors for refusing to almost immediately start loading ammunition again, and how the convictions of these sailors stand today. By sharing this history of these four sites, we have the opportunity to ensure that current and future generations can learn from and experience the many important and complex parts of our nation's collective history. Not just for inspiring places and scenic places, but for the shameful places and the places which can hopefully allow us to reflect on the things we have done wrong in an effort to make our country a more perfect union, as we were challenged to do in the most fundamental document we have, our Constitution. This is what we, the National Park Service, are looking to do a better job of in our next 100 years. We want to make sure we are finding ways to connect with and create the next generation of park visitors, supporters, and advocates. To meet this challenge, we must find new voices to help us share their stories and new ways to engage people who have not yet found their park. I hope you will take time, there's the Port Chicago Memorial, by the way. I hope you will take time during this centennial year to find your park and experience some of the amazing places that are part of your National Park Service and our nation's collective history. In addition to talking about the National Park Centennial, I also was asked to reflect on my federal service. As I said before, I've had 25 years of service now. And it seems like just yesterday I was a student at UC Santa Cruz, just about to complete my degree and go to dental school. It's okay if you laugh. I had one quarter of classes left to graduate, and a friend shared an internship opportunity working at what was then Pinnacle's National Monument, now a national park. I applied and was hired. Just 2 weeks later, I was living in the park, earning 10 school credits and collecting a GS4 salary. I was getting paid to go to school. I think it was the best job I ever had. After completing my internship, I returned to finish my degree, and 5 days after graduation, I got a seasonal job back at Pinnacle's. That job shares one thing in common with all the jobs I've had over the years. I got the opportunity to work with some of the most extraordinary people I've ever met. Whether it was my first supervisor who took a chance at hiring a dental student to do vegetation studies, or a BLM planner in Utah who hired me as an NPS botanist to work on a planning team to write the first management plan at Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, and he hired me because I looked like Paul Simon. Or the person who is now the National Park Service Director, John Jarvis, who saw the potential in me and gave me the chance to run an entire park when I was given my first job as a superintendent at Manzanar National Historic Site. They all mentored me and inspired me to be the best that I could be. In my career, I have been blessed with the opportunity to work with some of the most amazing and special places, work in some of the most amazing and special places in the world. But it is the amazing people I have worked with who I remember the most. People like those being honored here today, who I aspire to be more like, and who serve our country tirelessly and selflessly and inspire people every day. I am proud to work for my government as a civil servant and honored to work with such an amazing and inspiring group of people. Thank you for the work you do, and thank you for the opportunity to be with you here today.